the great LeBron James is eligible to sign a 2-year, $97.1 million extension with the Lakers. Now, he has until June 30th. So basically 10 months to sign the extension all season long and then some. So it's not an urgent matter. But I do know this. I do know that LeBron wants to stay with the Lakers. Now, I don't know if that means he'll sign tomorrow. He obviously has tons of money, and he's got leverage. He doesn't need to do it tomorrow. But do you think he will sign or should sign as soon as possible, or you think he should let this thing, play out and maybe try to use it at least as some leverage for the Lakers to continue to better the roster?
Well, the one thing we know about, first of all, let me just, as a fan, let me speak. I want him to sign now. Okay. Lock him in. But as a businessman, it's one thing we know about LeBron James is leverage. He loves leverage. And he'll use leverage as much as he can to benefit him, his family, and his business. And so having leverage in a negotiation or in a situation where you want to be heard is never a bad thing. So it wouldn't surprise me if he didn't come out and sign right away. We all know, I know, we know, you know that he wants to be in L.A. This is where it's happening. He's building his empire here in Los Angeles. And so he still has the dream of playing with his son in a few years, if his son's able to make it to the NBA. And so L.A. would be the perfect place. They live here, have multiple houses here. They've built a family and business and everything here. And yeah, he has houses other places, but they spend.
Kids are growing
this
up
is here.
Yeah,
this is here.
This is home now. It's home for his kids.
Yeah, they're here. I mean? They're here. They're locked in. They're here. They're not going to school anywhere else. They're here, and so it'd be advantageous for him to continually be in their lives every day, because if he goes off and signs with whoever, pick a team, well, his family's still going to be in school here.
Right.
His wife is still going to be here.
And you don't need to, in his shoes.
No.
Like sometimes people need to go away and work to take care of their family, military, whatever. When you got the kind of money he does and leverage, you've accomplished what he has and leverage, like there's just no need for that. But look, I'm glad you brought up his son, Bronny, and his desire, his well-known desire to play with Bronny in the NBA, even on the same team. And this is what I want to say. And look, by all indications, LeBron is a tremendous father. I know LeBron. I know people close to him well. I loved seeing the recent video. I don't know if you saw it. It just was, I think, came out yesterday. But he was working out with his son, Bronny, LeBron Jr., who's the oldest, will be a senior in high school, and his younger son, Bryce, who will be a junior or sophomore in high school. And they were working out together at the Lakers facility. And I thought that was great. I thought that was just a wonderful photo and great experience, not only for the kids, but for LeBron. It was heartwarming. But that said, Ephraim, I've said this before, I think LeBron should tone down the talk about wanting to play with Bronny for several reasons. One is that LeBron Jr. or Bronny, he's already growing up in just about the greatest shadow you could grow up in for an athlete, right? Your dad is one highly regarded, widely regarded as one of the two best players to ever play. All right. So you can pretty much never live up to what dad did. And you're trying to be the best player you can be. So you have that shadow over you. And beyond that, well, that's why if I was Bronny, like I'd love to see LeBron and Bronny in the league at the same time. If I was Bronny, I don't know that I'd want to be on the same team with Dad. And I love my dad. My dad is living with me now. I brought him and my mom to live with us. But at 19 or 20, did I necessarily want to be on the same team as my dad? No. Where are you at that? I mean, you were a great athlete. Whatever position you were in, if you were the father and you had a chance to play on the team with your son, or if you were the son, would you have wanted to play with the dad? Dads probably would, but the son, and I get King Griffey and King Griffey Jr., right? Mm-hmm. But Griffey wasn't a superstar. His son was, but the son was outshining the dad.
Well, yeah, the dad was good, but
right,
his son,
he was good.
Ken Griffey Jr. was great.
Absolutely. So it was different, and it was baseball, which is not, it's an individual sport that's a team sport. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to affect one person's performance doesn't necessarily affect the others. But what I want to hear that from you first. I got a few other things to say about it, but what's your thought on that?
If I were in the position to where I was playing and my son was coming up and the ages matched up, I would love to be on a team with my son, and then vice versa, right? Because now you get the game from a different perspective, right? The one thing I know as a rookie coming into the league is trying to find your way and not knowing who has your best interest at heart. It's a dog eat dog. Once you get to that level, everyone's trying to cut your head off. Right? You got older guys, older veterans on the team don't want to help because they see you as the replace. All of these things transpire. But to be able to come into a situation, flourish, grow, and learn, be nurtured, and have someone there wants to maximize your ability, that's a comfort level that majority of professional athletes will never get and never understand or never have or any semblance of that. The best you can do is to find a veteran guy on the team. Like for me, it was Bob Whitfield. Bob Whitfield was not threatened by me. He was great. And he took me under his wing and helped me learn what the league is about. Now, Bronny has a leg up because he's around the league
his whole life.
He's part of
LeBron his whole life.
Right? You just said him and his little brother, they're at the Lakers professional facility training, right? So he has already a leg up on what the league is. Now he just needs to know what it takes to stay, maintain, and to be great in it. And I think the cool factor also has something to do with it. Now, you mentioned your dad. I'm sure to you, your dad is cool, right? But when you look at the generations, right, your dad grew up in a time where there were no cell phones, right? There were very limited things technologically that we have now that he can point to, right? Your dad probably grew up at a time where radio, right? You spend most of the time in front of the radio, not the television, right? So now the different generations. LeBron James is driving around in the Phantom. He got the bling. He swag. My dad don't have no swag.
Well, what about do you think the son wants to establish his own identity?
Well, he'll be able to do that.
LeBron James' son.
Well, he'll have the opportunity to do that because his dad will only play with him for a year, maybe two.
Yeah, but that first year you're going to want to do it. I get it. I mean, I see both sides, and I appreciate, what you're saying about it because there's different ways to look at it. Let me ask you this, though. Right now, I think the second reason I think LeBron needs to just tamp it down a bit is that this is putting a ton of pressure on Bronny to get to the league like in 2 years. Right now, he is not on a one-and-done trajectory.
No.
He's ranked 47th. The last rankings I saw, 24/7 Sports composite rankings, has him ranked as the 7th best shooting guard in his class and the 47th ranked player overall. Now, that certainly doesn't mean you can't get to the NBA, or you won't. A lot of guys at that 47th ranked in their class have gotten to the NBA, but not many, if any, ranked that low, if you will, have gone one and done. And so I would not want LeBron to pressure a team to drafting Bronny before he's ready, because I don't think that's going to help him. Or if he goes to the G League, plays 1 year and comes out into the NBA the next, like, I don't think that's going to help him. I think it has to be natural. If he has to play 3 years of college and that means you don't play with LeBron, then so be it. But I think the onus has to be on Bronny's timetable and making sure he really is ready for the NBA rather than let's get him there as soon as possible so he can play with LeBron.
I'll tell you this. I see exactly where you're coming from, but looking at it from a dad's point of view, LeBron James is in a tremendous position. He's the face of the league, has been that way for quite some time. And he has, on one end, yes, the pressure on Bronny to keep rising to the level so that he can be in the NBA is great, and it's magnified because that's all LeBron's talking about. I want to play with my son. I want to play with my son.
Right.
On the flip side of that, now LeBron is putting pressure on the league, right? Look, I want to play with my son. If LeBron James is still playing at the level he played last year, minus the injuries, who's not going to want LeBron James on their team? What he brings to the team, the value he brings. But I'll say this.
Do you want, if you're Bronny, look, in corporate America, we see it all the time, and I've heard people make that analogy.
Yeah, somebody nephew there who ain't got no business being up in there.
But that's different because you're not in the public eye. You're not going to be getting scrutinized. It's not 400 people or 450 guys with these jobs. Like, if Bronny gets to the NBA, now, initially, let's say he's not good enough, but he's drafted anyway because of LeBron. Oh, great. You got a contract. You're in the NBA. But what if you fizzle? You know, you're not ready, so you getting crushed and you fizzle, and now it ruins your chance of going in naturally and, developing at your own speed, not to mention other players on your team and in the league, period, who are looking at you like, man, you only in the league because of dad.
Oh, well, they're going to go after him.
Guy.
They're going to go after him. Remember what happened to Alonzo Ball when he first got into the league. But what happened? He ended up turning out to be a pretty darn good.
He was good enough. But I'm only saying if Bronny's not good enough.
And that's a big
He's only 6'3".
Right.
He's a shooter. Now, I think he can play. I've watched him. He's got the court savvy and intelligence that you see in LeBron.
Basketball IQ, I'm not saying, brother, is high. You want to talk, it's
I
invaluable.
can see him being a really good point guard. But I'm just saying, right now, he's not on a one and done trajectory, and I don't think it will help him. If that's where you're at, I think you need to take as much time getting ready for the NBA. And you got to
remember, LeBron James didn't say, "I want my son to be a first round draft pick. I want my son to go first overall. I want my son to be a lottery pick." He never said that. What he said is, "I want to play with my son." If Bronny James is a second-round draft pick, a team will take a flyer on a second-round draft pick. If he ends up, I don't necessarily believe he'll go to college. I think he'll go right into the G League.
Okay.
I think he'll come out of high school, go into the G League, sign a lucrative deal. He'll play in the G League for a year, enter the draft, and I think the team that LeBron James is on, I think they will draft him. He doesn't have to be a knockdown superstar, top 10, top 20, top 30. He's already 47. He doesn't have to be top 50. But I believe that a team will take a flyer on him, and the team that LeBron James is playing on in the second round out of the G League. That's just what I think.
Second rounders don't make the team.
Of course not.
They don't have
but you know that
deals.
one. You know that one will make the team,
right?
And if as a father, why wouldn't you want to put your son in that position?
Because I want my son to have the long-term success.
I get it now.
And I don't want him to be viewed as just, I'm riding dad's coattails.
Now, see, that's
not in basketball or football. But like,
you're right.
Again, if I owned a technology company, I'm going to put him in there. And he can be trained to do the job. But that's different than a professional sport.
It's very few people who get to ascend to that level, and even fewer get to have a relative do it with them. Right? That's rarefied air. Why wouldn't you shoot for rarefied air as a dad?
I'm not saying don't shoot for it. I'm just saying don't I would not talk. I think it's putting a ton of pressure.
It's too late now.
You
can't unpack it. It's already packed up. The pressure's already there.
If you slow down on talking, but if you slow down on talking about it, it ain't as much.
It's not the slowdown's not going to help.
Bryce is 6'6".
Bryce going to be nice now.
Right, and now you got the pressure. Obviously, I'm sure Bronny is happy that his brother is great and all that. But if his brother becomes better than him,
well, it's probably going to happen. Remember Blake Griffin and his older brother and all.
Yeah, it's tough.
The younger brother is usually better because they work so hard to be better than the big brother. Big brother's good. They have to work. The younger brother has to work. I see it in my own household. I got a 10-year-old who's about to be 7 feet, and I have an 11-year-old who's about to be 7 feet, and I got a 8-year-old who's about to be 6'11". Right? But they go at it.
Let's throw this out to the call. I want to hear what people think about this. Bronny playing with LeBron. Would you want to play with your dad? And you think LeBron might be putting too much pressure on Bronny to get there and get there fast? Your turn to win.
Marty, you in Kentucky. You're on the Odd Couple. What do you got?
Marty?
Yeah, sorry. I had to shut off my lawnmower.
That's all right.
I'm getting that work done.
Good to hear from you, man. What you got?
Well, me personally, I'm not going to play with my father because he screamed at me my entire career of basketball. But LeBron, I think he's more laid back. I think I wouldn't mind playing with him, and he's a brilliant basketball mind, fan or not, so he's a good guy to have around and just to coach you along, even though he's your dad, he's going to do it anyway. And I'm telling you, I hear a lot of flack given that he's overrated because he's LeBron's son. But I'll tell you, if I'm a team looking at him and I can sign him and I can put him in G League, I got to look at these guys like your Steph Curry's and Klay Thompsons that grew up in the environment, that understand what it's like to be in the league, that they don't have to make the adjustment because they've lived it their whole life. Those guys can really pan out, and they can improve greatly as they grow into being a man.
That's a great call because both Steph and Seth have continued.
Yes, they've
improved, right? Yep. Neither one of them were blue chip recruits, but that's a great call.
No, I mean, Steph Curry went to Davidson.
Yep.
Right? I think that's a great call. Let's go to Carl in Mobile, Alabama. You're on the Odd Couple. What you got?
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. Also wanted to share. My wife listens. I got her hooked on the show, and she really likes the show, especially Ephraim Salaam. She really thinks he's hilarious. So,
thank you. I appreciate that.
All right.
So, I think, and she doesn't mind Rob. She just thinks Ephraim is funny. So I don't want Rob to get that attitude.
Hey, keep that drop as a drop in every time Rob gets out of line. All right, what you got?
Hey, I think it's the worst idea ever, and I'm going to tell you why. Imagine you guys played on a team. Imagine a team where the player that has the most control, that has the agent controlling the team, and control has his son on the team. That is the most awkward, the most nepotistic, the most worst dynamic you could have on a team.
It's tough because, like I said, other players are going to look at you like, especially if you aren't ready. Now, if you're balling, it is what it is. But if you're not ready yet, I think guys will look at you. And Ephraim, this is money.
That's a good point.
You taking a spot. Dude, I was supposed to get that $2 million.
Right. I mean, but look, he can get there. He can be good. Let's go one more. Let's go Mark in Sacramento. Sacktown! You on the Odd Couple. What you got?
What's going on, Sacktown?
What up,
Mark?
Hey, what's going on, gentlemen? Nepotism is half the system. So
Thank you.
I don't know where that's coming from. But anyway.
No, it's the system, but not necessarily in professional sports, at least on the field. That's different.
I get it, but I guess what I'm trying to say is I understand if he can get him there and open up the door. You talk about his legacy. Man, you can talk about rings all you want to. As a father, at the end of the day,
Facts.
if I got to get my son there with me and play a year through that door, he can get him there, but it's up to the young man to stay there.
Facts.
But for his legacy, yes. Bring him on through, and then that's a part of your legacy. Say, hey, Jordan, you didn't play with your son, but I did.
I don't think – see, that's the thing. That's LeBron, and I'm not saying he's thinking this. He shouldn't be thinking about what's in it for me. He got everything. It should be what's best for Bronny.
He trying to set him
up,
not
what's best for me.
No, he's trying to set him up.
I get to say, Jordan never did. Man, forget that.
He's trying to set the table for him, let him go up there and have a meal.
But I think the best way is to let him develop and be ready. And maybe he will be. I'm not saying he won't. I'm just saying I think that's the best way. But it's an interesting discussion.